Okay, Mike. So, this was shocking news to, I think, a ton of people throughout the college football world, obviously, and former players like yourself. What was the level of surprise and what was your emotion whenever you heard that Coach Saban was finally walking away from the game?
Yeah, I'd put the level of surprise at probably a 7, honestly. I think everybody knew it was coming in the next few years. I personally thought that he would get, part of that 12-team playoff that's coming up. I know that there's a lot of stressors being put on, these college coaches nowadays. I just thought we'd get 1 year in the 12-team playoff to see if he could make one more run. They should have a pretty good team coming back next year. Um, so I'd put it at about a 7. I think that, like I said, not totally fall out of my chair shocked, but when it happened and how it happened, I think there was no whispers or anything. It just was very sudden. It was announced, and everybody was like, "Well, here we are."
What was the first thing that came to your mind whenever you heard?
What's interesting? So I have a group thread with a bunch of my old teammates, and we've been graduated almost 15 years. Wow, that's kind of makes me sick. Um, and we started talking. We were like kind of shocked, and then it turned to appreciation. Honestly, that we got a chance to be a part of it. I think that's how most of the players that have been in my shoes feel. Is that it went from, oh my goodness, what is Alabama football going to do? Who's the next coach? I can't believe they're in this phase. And then it turned to looking back on the stories, right? The first time he walked in the meeting room, the speeches he gave us, the pre games, the incredible matchups, the championships. Um, it's hard in the immediate aftermath to think of those things. But once you get past that and realize that you got a chance to suit up and strap up and have these conversations and sit with and be involved in all these things for the greatest coach in college football history. And so once I got a chance to kind of really bite down on that and think about it, it's you realize what a true blessing a guy like that has been.
Look, you live in dogs country, you work in dogs country. You got to talk about Georgia all the time. So, what exactly do you feel like this means for the Bulldogs now that Nick Saban's out of the way?
Well, I don't think there's any question that Kirby Smart's the best doing it right now. I think when you look at honestly the whole college football landscape, everybody's kind of expecting Jim Harbaugh to go back to the NFL at some point. That's going to leave not many coaches in college football that have actually won a national championship, and I think that's worth something when you go into the 12-team playoff next year. Dabo's one of those guys. Mac Brown's one of those guys, but I don't think anybody expects them to make noise on a national championship landscape anytime soon. So Kirby Smart is at the top of his game. He's still young. I think he's the same age that Nick Saban was when Nick was at Michigan State, which I think shocks a lot of people. But he's also very personable, right? He's dealt with roster management in a good way. He's one of those guys that really vibes with the players in a way that I don't know that Coach Saban ever really did, to be honest with you. I mean, I look up to Coach Saban because of the man that he was, but he was never like a friend. And I think Kirby Smart this day and age, I think that's a big thing. So when you look at really how well he fits into this era of college football, it just seems like the possibilities are endless, right? I mean, he's going to have to keep guys in Athens. He's going to have to keep them happy. But when you're winning, there's usually smiles spread across the faces in those locker rooms.
I'm glad you brought that up about Coach Saban because he's a traditionalist, as you know. I mean, he literally just learned how to text this year. He doesn't do all of the things that Kirby already does. So, why do you believe that he was so successful with you guys and with so many players over the years?
Well, I think that both of those guys make it really hard not to succeed and not to get the best out of yourself. Coach Saban had a speech a few years back about the choices that guys have nowadays, and really the point he was trying to make is there's a lot of players that think that they have choices, but if you want to be great and you want to win and you want to become the best version of yourself, there's really not many choices to be made, right? You have to do all the right things. You have to go to classes, but both of those coaches in the process and the system they have put in place, right? There's so many guardrails. There's an assistant strength coach at every rack counting reps during workouts. There's somebody checking every class. There's somebody clocking every 40 and every 110. It makes it impossible to fail, honestly. If you're willing to put in the work, it makes it next to impossible to fail. And that's one of the reasons those guys are so good. They don't leave it up to the player, right? They take it out of the player's hands and basically say, if you show up, we're going to make you great. That's the reason both those guys continue to send a number of players to the NFL and really get the most out of people that have been a part of their process.
I think Coach Saban probably can't sit still for too long, and I'm sure Miss Terry probably wants him out of the house a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you anticipate he does? Is he going to be a part of college football to some degree? Is he going to have opinions on the ever-changing landscape, or is he going to do some TV? What do you think?
I hope he's part of college football. I think college football needs him right now, to be quite honest with you. I think this landscape is changing so fast, and I don't think that we've seen the end of the exodus of coaches. I know there's been a lot of news about NFL coaches that are leaving, but it almost becomes impossible to sustain at the college level right now because there is such a lack of rules and regulations surrounding things. So somebody is going to have to zig when everybody else is zagging, and make sure there are rules put around some of these things going on. So I think Coach Saban's great for the college game. I think he understands people at a very, very high level. Personally, selfishly, I hope he continues to be part of the Alabama program, but I think he'd be great on a college football set, be it College Game Day or whatever they might want to do with him at a big network. And I think he'd be exceptional in some kind of role higher up, be it within the NCAA or the College Football Playoff Committee or whatever that may be. So, he's what, 71, 72 years old, something in that ballpark right now. I can't see that he's just straight up, laying on the beach and playing golf. I think he'll be around college football, and honestly, I think more than ever, college football needs a guy like that.
He does love to play golf, though, so maybe he'll play a little bit of golf for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so one of my last questions for you. Earlier, you said he is the greatest college football coach of all time. I'm sure that a lot of Dogs fans don't love to hear you say that, but it is an argument. It's kind of like the Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant argument. Why, in your opinion, is Coach Saban the greatest of all time?
Well, I think he did it over so many different kind of phases, right? When he entered college football, with Toledo, Michigan State, all back then, it wasn't nearly as spotlighted. The recruiting regulations have changed. The transfer portal has changed. The spread offenses, the no huddles, everything that he has, had to deal with throughout his tenure. A lot of people, when I got to college, it was Bear Bryant. Everybody want to talk about Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant could put 150 guys on scholarship if he wanted to. I mean, there would be guys he signed a scholarship just to keep them from going to other SEC schools. So
Yeah.
Nick Saban's had to deal with a lot more. He's obviously sustained it. When it comes to dominance in that era that he's had at Alabama, you talk about 9 SEC titles in 16 years and 6 national championships and however many appearances in national championship games. It's just incredible. I think Kirby will obviously have the ability, with longevity to approach that. And I think he's, obviously got those wheels turning the right direction right now. But Kirby found a way to just apply himself over a generation, to be honest with you, over an entire era. So in my opinion, obviously he's the greatest of all time. I played for him. I did, Kirby Smart was on staff at Alabama when I was there, and I know all about Kirby. And I think that he has that ability as well. I actually think Kirby Smart fits this younger next generation better than Nick Saban would have. And so it's a matter of opinion. I know that. I come in peace, Dog fans, when I say that, but I'm a big Kirby Smart fan as well, and he's going to have his opportunities ahead of him.
All right, last question for you. You won a BCS national championship with Coach Saban, which I know was a highlight for you, obviously, but what kind of impact did Coach Saban have on you, not only as a player, but as a man?
Whew. I spoke about that this morning on the radio. I tried my best not to get choked up, to be honest with you, because the lasting impacts that a guy like that has. Anybody who's ever had a great coach, anybody who's ever, not just football, whoever has played any sport that has that mentor, that Coach Saban taught us to, I don't want to say blame ourselves, but to look in the mirror first, right? Control what you can control. Look in the mirror first. And honestly, I live my life that way. I'm 15 minutes early to everything. I still get stressed out when I'm might be late to a meeting or to any kind of event. I wasn't that way before him, right? And he taught me a level of accountability that you just can't replicate. I mean, look, the guy is probably going to get paid $25,000 or $30,000 to go speak to corporations in retirement, and I got it every day. And I sat in his office one-on-one and talked to him and got those same speeches. And he just found a way to hold you accountable to yourself and to look in the mirror. And so, listen, anytime something happens in my life, I am able to look in the mirror and say, what could I have done differently, and cross that path first. And I think he's done that for a lot of guys. And I just don't think it's something you can replicate, really. I say father figure loosely, much more of a mentor and somebody that, guided you the right way. But it's invaluable, honestly, the lessons that he's taught. And I know that there are literally thousands of football players and coaches that carry those lessons every day. And I'm just thankful I got to be a part of it.